We are back, and another little change here is Wesley Paulson, Executive Director for ClearSpace, is in theater, in studio right now. And Dave from Shore News Beak, and we're going to put him on after Commissioner Susan Gay, who's at 8:40 this morning. First off, good morning to you, Wesley.
Good morning.
I cannot imagine how this news has sunk into you and everyone at ClearSpace.
The fact that the mayor and commissioners overturned the decision of two of their planning commissions and two of their building inspectors has come as quite a shock. We knew what we were in for dealing with the city of Rehoboth. We'd been warned, but the reality of yesterday is quite stunning. They spent a lot of time, and I'd be interested to hear what Susan Gay has to say. The question was, were the decisions of the Planning Commission arbitrary and capricious? And I think, frankly, the decision of the mayor and three of the commissioners was arbitrary and capricious. This whole thing is unprecedented, that you've overturned your paid staff professionals and people appointed with experience to, apply the code. It makes no sense. And, the city is losing Nicolas for whatever reason. Agave never came to town. The
Frog
Pond is gone. The boat dock is finished, and they don't have a contract to use it. I don't understand, and I feel like we're just number X in a series of things that I don't know that the city leadership has a handle on it.
When it came down to Mayor Stan Mills casting that deciding vote yesterday after over 5 hours of discussion, what were your thoughts right then?
I think my thoughts were that, the process may have been a little sloppy in terms of some of the issues of plans submitted, but at the end of the day, the plans were code compliant. And I think that the mayor and some of the commissioners are hung up in the direction of the Planning Commission, and unfortunately we got caught up in that and made an example.
One of the main issues that has been talked about all along over, I want to say a couple years now.
Yeah,
parking.
3 years. 3 years.
3 years is parking.
Right, parking was an issue, but according to the code, if we're under 15,000 square feet for the theater building, and 10,000 for the Spotlight building, parking is not required. The code, as we interpret the code, that's clear. And they voted, I think 4-3, that the code, in fact, is ambiguous on that count, and therefore we are compliant.
You, as ClearSpace Theater, have made quite an investment into the property on Rehoboth Avenue in the town of Rehoboth Beach.
Yes, we bought the property for a little over $2 million in 2019, and we've spent several $100,000 in design and studies and fees and reports. So we've invested in this process quite heavily.
What's next?
The board and I are going to meet and talk about Plan B. What is our appetite for pursuing potential litigation? What are the options? We have legal counsel, and that certainly is on the menu. I don't know yet. I'm reluctant to quote give up, because I think that's not fair to the over 200 people who are citizens in the city who signed a petition in support of us versus a very vocal minority of about 65 people. And that's where my struggle is right now.
Yeah, it's something I thought about yesterday too, with 2,500 or so residents here in the town of Rehoboth Beach year round, and then 65 people against the project, that it still was reversed and voted down by the commissioners, for the commissioners yesterday.
Yes, that was quite stunning. And again, I think, if I can speak candidly, I think we are caught up in a struggle by some for the direction of the Planning Commission in light of the 3 hotels that are online, and sending a message to them.
Do you believe that any one force is behind this decision?
I think that there is, and I recognize that there's always two sides to any zoning issue, but I think there's a very vocal minority that wishes to has its own perception of the direction Rehoboth should go, and anything not compatible with that, they'll fight against it. And they're a very vocal minority. They have the ear of key people in the city, which obviously we've tried to get through to, and we've had some people who support us too. But in the end, they're loud and they're proud and they're going after it, and it's regrettable because the city will lose.
And in the meantime, you have secured an additional 1-year lease at your current location. Is that correct?
Yes. My theater is always half full, and we're blessed with the fact that we have a 5-year lease on the theater, so we've got 4 more years. Mr. Langford has been very generous and gracious to us, so we're not out of business. This is not the end of the world. We've got a full summer season. We've already planned 2022 that I can't reveal because that's part of our fall event, but we've got 2022 season planned out. We're not looking back. Probably our next big challenge is when to raise the seating capacity. We hope that everything stays safe, and that'll be our next big exciting thing in the house. But you're welcome to come, go on a journey to Fabulous with Priscilla and Mamma Mia and the classic Sound of Music. We're rolling, and that's where I kind of get my jazz from all this. In the midst of this, I go sit in rehearsal, and I'm reminded why I do what I do.
Yeah, Mamma Mia is one of my favorite. I've seen it in St. Louis. I've seen the London appearance a couple times, and you have Chris Peterson coming up, another one of my favorites that I haven't seen in probably 10+ years.
Yeah.
At the Renegade, and then also I can't remember where else in town here, but an amazing performance.
Yeah, Christopher's back after 5 years. Combination of his obligations and that we didn't really have shows that that he might fit into as an actor, and Priscilla came up, and so did, and Christopher's back, and I sat in on a rehearsal, and he's in fine form.
When you see quote unquote drag performers, and most of them are lip syncing, but I'll tell you, Chris Peterson has a show, does it all live. Yes. It's just tremendous.
Yes, he's incredible. And I advise those of you who are novices, you definitely want to sit in the front row for Christopher. Christopher's just amazing. I admire the fact that when you look at him, not only does he do the costuming and the hair, but I perceive his whole face context changes to match the actress he's impersonating.
Be it Lucille Ball,
yes.
Marilyn Monroe, or a couple that I can remember by sitting in.
Yeah, Lucy, the eyes get real big, and Carol Channing, the smile gets real wide, and he's got it all down.
Well, Baltimore Avenue's a place to be then, Clear Space Theater.
Come on down to the theater district.
Some great shows. And Wesley, personally saddened by the news yesterday.
Yeah.
Hope that you can find a path forward somehow still to remain here in downtown Rehoboth Beach, and please keep us updated on what's going on.
Yeah, and thank you for making time for me today,
and
I appreciate Dave taking the second slot.
Very good. Yeah. Very good. And then we'll have Commissioner Susan Gay on. She's calling in right now. We'll have her on the air in just a minute or so. Well, thank you again.
Thanks again, Jeff.
You're listening to 99.1 Radio Rehoboth. My name's Jeff. You're on the morning show, The Daybreak Show. We're coming up on 8:40, and we do want to welcome now to our phones Rehoboth Beach Commissioner Susan Gay. Good morning, Susan.
Good morning, Jeff. How are you?
Good. Yourself?
Okay. It's been a tough week, but I just want to say before we get into the discussion, I want to start on a positive note by saying congratulations again on your Best Host Award. It's quite an honor, and I only found out yesterday. I'm a little behind on the news. I've been distracted this week.
Well, thank you.
But it's well deserved, and I also want to say I did watch the top of the hour where you said you were devoting this entire broadcast to the Clear Space decision, and I appreciate you doing that so quickly.
Thank you.
And we're having us both on.
Yep, I appreciate that, and we're doing our best to be community radio for Rehoboth Beach, Dewey, and Lewis area, and this definitely affects not only the residents here, but the tourists here. I guess maybe my first question to you, Susan, is your thoughts on what Executive Director Wesley Paulson just said.
Well, I have a number of thoughts. In fact, if you don't mind, I want to start with a sort of an intro, and then I did make some notes as he was speaking, and the good news is I don't think we're far apart. I really don't, and I want to address, I made several points of specific things that he said, and I definitely want to address those.
Please.
But before I do that, let me just say that hearings like the appeal of the Planning Commission's decision that we did yesterday are absolutely the hardest part of a commissioner's job. Absolutely. It's extremely difficult. We must put aside our personal interests and beliefs and focus only on upholding our laws, our zoning code, and the site plan process. And I want your listeners to understand we're limited in what we can consider, and we're not even allowed to talk to anyone until it's over. We have to use independent judgment. And I want to emphasize two things. There is a path forward for ClearSpace. The city will continue to work with them as they go through the public process of Planning Commission approval. And I also want to emphasize that the decision was not about whether ClearSpace is a valuable part of the community. We know it is. We know it's important to our economy. And the Planning Commission did spend many hours discussing the project, and they made some progress. I don't think there's any question they made progress on some of the conditions and some of the neighbors' concerns. But the mayor and commissioners have to decide whether the process of site plan review was followed. And once we learned that code-compliant plans had never been submitted, never reviewed, or never approved by the Planning Commission, we had no choice but to reverse the decision. So part of the plan B is submit. They could submit code-compliant plans today. I understand they do exist. If that's the case, submit them. And at that point, I would hope the Planning Commission would expeditiously review it in compliance with the site plan review, and it would result in a unanimous approval.
So, Susan, do they have to go back and start this whole process over, like a 6-month plan again then? No? No.
The process after we remanded, except I guess for holiday delays, that process was only about 33 days. I guess they had a preliminary hearing in late January and then the final one in February. So it's not a lot. In fact, to me, what I will never understand is why, because they knew then that that the plans weren't compliant. That was stated at the last meeting, that what was before the Planning Commission was incorrect and non-compliant. Whatever the building inspector gave his preliminary approval to has not been submitted. If it had been, we wouldn't be here today. That issue wouldn't exist. So it's curable, and it's just frustrating that it took this to get to it. So, no, it's not a long, drawn-out process at all. If anything, I did hear Wesley say that the board will be discussing what's next, and I was very pleased to hear him say that he's reluctant to give up. But I also heard him say that a plan B could be litigation, and frankly, that's a much longer process. And so I hope that doesn't happen. But I would like to talk about a few of the points he mentioned.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, he talked about being shocked in the reality of the PC, the Planning Commission, having made 2 previous decisions. And that's true, but one of the key things for me, at least from the way I approached it, is we remanded it to the Planning Commission last November, specifically because there were many unanswered questions then, and the Planning Commission had not completed its process. They did make a lot of progress, as I said earlier, but they never approved, they still never reviewed and never approved final plans. They never had the plans.
Susan, could this have been resolved prior to the meeting yesterday?
No, because the appeal had been filed. We had to go, that was one of the things we were limited. We had to go only by what was on the record through February 26th. And once the appeal was filed, we had to limit our knowledge and limit our review to only what was on the record through February 26th, because we're not reviewing ClearSpace. We're reviewing the Planning Commission's process and decision. There's a big difference there. This is not about clear space.
Well,
it's about the Planning Commission.
What Wesley is saying at this point, though, is that the building inspector says that they must start from square one now again with a complete review of all departments.
But the my understanding is code compliant plans exist, which suggests to me that those approvals are already in place. That's an internal discussion that I hope will happen very soon.
Okay.
And I look forward to hearing more about that, but obviously I haven't seen the plans. Nobody's seen the plans.
Right.
We don't know what's in them. But my understanding is they meet the code. And if they do, again, the last time we went through this, it was only about 30 days. But in going back to the issue of the two decisions, when we remanded it last year, it had been a 7-2 vote. And I was troubled by the fact that the second vote, even though there was a second decision, went the other way, so that more planning commissioners turned it down the second time than the first time. That's going in the wrong direction. And, that was troubling to me from the start. But, I think Wesley even mentioned experienced planning commission, and unfortunately that's the problem. With turnover, we've had a loss of institutional knowledge. We have planning commissioners who have never been through the process here. Our code is unique. Every community's code is unique. And just because someone has worked with zoning codes in Virginia or Maryland or somewhere else does not mean they know our code. And frankly, 5 members of the Planning Commission have never been through site plan review before. Clearly there's a gap there. So one of the things we need to do immediately is training for the Planning Commission, is bringing in a planner, a professional consultant planner, which we used to do for site plan reviews. We used to do that, and to help them through the process. We have some cleanups to do with our planning. There's no question. And I heard Wesley say, he feels like he was caught in the middle because of all the hotels that are coming through. There's some truth to that in the sense that this is not a popularity contest. So all those hotels have to be held to the same standard that we just held ClearSpace to. It's not a popularity contest. And if we allowed site plans to be approved that had sight unseen, imagine what that would do to all those hotel projects and what could happen as a result. That's why it's so difficult.
Well, if I'm hearing you correctly, you see a resolution to this if these site plans get submitted through what you're saying are the proper channels, get approved, and then presented to the commissioners.
Presented to the planning commissioners.
Right.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Well, let's hope that can be resolved as we get into the start of the summer season here. I want to thank you, as always, for joining us here on 99.1 Radio Rehoboth. I know that it's a very difficult decision that was made by 4 of the commissioners yesterday. It was a costly decision on the backs of ClearSpace Theater. And I'm hoping that by you being on the air this morning, you've cleared up maybe some misconceptions in some people's minds as to the reason for the decision.
I certainly hope so. And, I would like to thank ClearSpace for their persistence in coming up with a plan that meets both their needs and our code. We're 1 square mile. It's tough for everybody. And I do appreciate their desire to stay in the city.
And thank you very much for joining us this morning, Commissioner Susan Gay, City of Rehoboth Beach. You have a great day and a great 4th of July weekend.
You as well. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. You're listening to the morning show, the Daybreak Show, right here on 99.1 Radio Rehoboth. We're a little behind in taking our 8:45 break. Radio Rehoboth News Time is now 8:49. Dave from Shore News Beacon, he's going to join us right after the break. We'll be right back.
Hi, this is Joanne Salzberg of Jewish Family Services, and you are listening to 99.1 Radio Rehoboth Community Radio for Rehoboth Beach, Lewis, and Dewey Beach.
And my name's Jeff. Welcome back to our morning show special edition here as we deal with the reversal of the decision of the Rehoboth Beach Planning Commission yesterday on the approval of ClearSpace's new location on Rehoboth Avenue. I want to thank Executive Director from ClearSpace, Wesley Paulson, for appearing here in studio. Commissioner Susan Gay from the City of Rehoboth Beach for appearing on our phone with us and maybe bringing some new things to light. The board of the ClearSpace Theater will be meeting with Mayor Stan Mills later on this morning to discuss this decision and hopefully discuss a plan forward as well. We are broadcasting live from our studios here in downtown Rehoboth Beach. We are right in between Gooley's Grill and what was the Frog Pond, soon to be Freddy's Bar. On the other side of us, it's 80 degrees, partly cloudy skies. The rain will be moving in later on today. Besides that, it's another gorgeous day here in southern Delaware, and we want to welcome Dave from Shore News Beacon for a little delayed daily conversation. But Dave, good morning to you, and I would love to hear your thoughts on ClearSpace Theater and the reversal by the Rehoboth Beach Commissioners on the Planning Commission's decision to allow the plan to move forward, which has now been reversed.
Yeah, and one of the things that I wanted to bring up that you and Wesley really didn't discuss is that, ClearSpace does more than just theater and performances. They have a kids camp during the summer, which I think is great to expose kids to the theater and to, I think it's very much an outreach kind of thing, giving the kids someplace to go that they're not playing video games all day and things like that. And I think that's a huge asset to the community. And, you and I have talked, extensively during the pandemic about the changing scenery of Rehoboth. And one of the things that, we don't want to see is more businesses and more things move outside the city. And, this decision, for whatever reason by the commissioners, taking the politics out of it, taking the procedures out of it, I hope in the end, it doesn't end up being one more thing moving out to the highway. But I don't know how you could blame them, moving forward. They have to, look out for their company and the theater. So I think it's a very interesting time, and hopefully this can be resolved and quickly and without a lot of cost to ClearSpace.
Very true, and that does sound like that might be the view of or the thought process. We know of Susan Gay, the commissioner, one of four that voted to reverse the Planning Commission's decision, and hopefully after a meeting with Mayor Stan Mills this morning, maybe there will be a path forward for ClearSpace to stay. Wesley Paulson, executive director, told us that they were told by the building inspector they have to start from square one, about a 6-month process to resubmit everything. But Commissioner Gay believes that there is a way to work around that and just to submit the site plan through the Planning Commission and to get this approved for the third time. And maybe the third time will be the charm.
Hopefully, and like I said, I hope there's some way to cut through the BS, so to speak, and get down to allowing them to start building and getting started, and keep doing what they're doing and what they do excellently. So I guess that's one of those things that we're going to be on this story for quite a while until it comes to a conclusion.
It does appear to be the case. As Wesley said, the story is now 3 years old. Over $2 million spent on buying or purchasing the property, a couple $100,000 or so on surveying and plans for this new theater group. But let's remember, they are still in Rehoboth Beach now. They are on Baltimore Avenue now, producing not only some great shows, but as you said, a lot of other great assets for the community and the children here.
Yeah. And, as we're, getting close to the top of the hour, just a couple things we really wanted to get in today. The weather over the next 2 days looks to be interesting. One of the things that weather will impact is for those listening to us, online and streaming that may be deciding to head to the beach over the next few days, and that are over on the Western Shore. This will impact the Bay Bridge because there won't be two-way traffic on the westbound span, most likely because of the weather. So, we know that we're expecting huge crowds and huge traffic. So with the weather moving in this afternoon into tomorrow, that could be impacted. So if you're planning on traveling, do it on off-peak hours and try to, avoid the Bay Bridge during those peak times because
good point.
We're probably looking at 5-6 mile backups or more.
Wow.
Into the 10-mile range when if the bridge isn't allowed to do two-way traffic.
Good point. And we're not sure what the weather's going to cause this weekend too. We might have some severe storms as well coming through the area.
Yeah, definitely. It's looking like a lot of that cold front is approaching. Looking at the radar now, a lot of that looks to be to the west of Maryland at this point, moving east. Pretty slow, to be honest, as I've been looking at the radar this morning. But we're looking at anywhere after the noon hour, possibly some pop-up thunderstorms and some potentially dangerous weather as we move into the evening hours.
And we do want to mention to people, if you did miss the interviews earlier on the Daybreak Show, they started around 8:30 this morning with Executive Director Wesley Paulson from Clear Space Theater, Commissioner from Rehoboth Beach, Susan Gay. We will be uploading those in about an hour's time to RadioRehoboth.com. You can click on the link for the Daybreak Show. We'll also post it on our Facebook page. And speaking of posting, Dave, a couple of things that we're hoping to be posted today on dewins.org. The winner of the $320,000 award or prize for being vaccinated here in the first state.
Yeah, and I think we're also supposed to find out possibly who won the 4-digit tags.
Yes.
So those are big prizes, and hopefully we'll find out. I noticed when looking at the site this morning, a lot of the people are remaining anonymous.
Yes.
But someone from Sussex County did win a vacation to Kent County.
I saw that too. That is great. What a prize, huh?
Depending on what part of Kent County we're going to, it could be an interesting journey.
Very true. Also, the Delaware Today, Best of Delaware winners are usually posted on the 1st of July as that magazine officially hits the newsstands today. So look for those posted online again today. Well, Dave, have a great Thursday. Look forward to our daily conversation with you at 8:30 tomorrow morning. You take care.
And one last thing,
sure.
Patience. Just remember patience.
Oh, we got to mention that every day, don't we?
Yes, we do. Have a great day.
You too. You're listening to 99.1 Radio Rehoboth, the Daybreak Show. A reminder, you get a double dose of award-winning DJ Tim Coffer today. Tim will be on the air following Democracy Now! That's from 9 to 10, DJ Tim after that. And then he's live in studio tonight for Legends of Disco. Of course, it's our LGBTQ programming before Tim tonight, This Way Out. My name's Jeff. Thank you again for voting me the best downstate radio talk show host here in the state of Delaware. Take care. I'll be back on the radio at 8 tomorrow morning. Radio